What's going on, guys? This is Company, and today I'm going to be recreating this FM patch for you guys. So we can dive right into this. I got a stock Serum here. Some basic post-processing and OTT with like 50% with the time turned up, and a medium curve saturator with some drive. And I'm just automating up the dry wet of this reverb for a nice tail. I thought that was a nice touch for the demonstration. Might as well put it in the patch while we're recreating it. Cool, so let's jump right into this. A bit of backstory about myself, since I haven't done any videos for Icon before. I graduated December 2015 from Icon and have been doing music full-time ever since. I just dropped an EP on Never Say Die January 12th. The Revolt EP, it's a 6-track thing. If you guys want to go check that out, that would be super cool. I'm happy to break down some of the projects or sounds if you guys are interested in anything like that. Any videos you guys want to see, drop a comment below. I'm very keen to helping you guys out. So let's jump right into this. For oscillator A, we had digital distort 8-bit flop is what it was. And we're actually not moving the wavetable position or anything like that, but we are going to be using the warp mode FM from B. If you're unfamiliar with FM really in depth, I mean, that in itself would take like a 20-minute video to explain. So in this instance, just know that even though the oscillator B's level is going to be down, that the wavetable shape and octave and amount of semitones applied are actually going to be modulating the actual shape of this wavetable and the harmonics coming out of it. So let's drop in Monster 7, which is the table I use for this one. And the first thing I'm going to do here is get a general layout of the kind of rhythm of that one LFO, because all of the modulations are made with one LFO here. So I set this to 2 bars, and I'm turning the grid up to 16 so I can hold down Option and kind of snap everything to place, as you can see. And let's make a kind of quick version of what that LFO sounded like, something like this, and we're going to modulate the level in and out to kind of get the rhythm. So we have that automation there. On the reverb, as you can hear, I'm also going to do this 2 semitone up on the pitch bend here. You can see all the automations that are taking place, and there will be one more automation that we're doing outside of the VST Serum itself that we're going to be doing in Ableton, and that is for the vibrato coming in, which I will get to towards the end of the patch. So we have kind of like the general rhythm laid out on this LFO, and this is what we're going to really apply to everything here. So we turned the frequency modulation amount up to like 35% here, which you probably have a bit of wiggle room around anywhere below 12 o'clock. So you don't have to copy these exactly. I would actually recommend that you come in and mess with as many of these different parameters that we can. So let's start to mess with oscillator B, and we will see how this actually affects the output of oscillator A, even though the level is all the way down. So we're going to make some modulations on the wavetable position here. And another big thing that's affecting the timbre of the overall sound is mainly happening on the oscillator B here. And that's some modulation happening on this bend plus and bend minus warp mode. And this is basically meaning that at 12 o'clock here, 0%, there's no bend being applied, but this is going to bend the wavetable in, and this is going to bend it out. We're actually going to modulate it right around there. So we're also going to take this oscillator and put it up 2 octaves and then a 5th in the scale, which is up 7 semitones. And then we're also going to apply some voices to this oscillator A and a bit of detune, but we're just going to blend out that middle voice to make sure we still have a very strong mono signal here. All right, let's hear how this is sounding. So it's getting a bit better. We got a pretty cool timbre there, a bit thin, and we're gonna fix that in the effects section. And we're also gonna, before we do that, we're gonna add a bandpass filter. And you're gonna notice before we get to the compression in the effects section that this is going to make the sound a lot weaker. So This is going to modulate somewhere around 12 o'clock as well, maybe a bit below, and we're going to add some resonance and drive, and that's about all we're going to do in the filter section. And we don't have to route oscillator B through the filter section because it is only being used to modulate oscillator A. Cool. So as you can see, the sound did thin out a bit. We're going to make that up with some multiband compression. I'm going to pull the threshold down a bit, or up, just so I'm catching the peaks of these mid and low bands. And then I'm going to turn the attack down, the release up a bit, and give this 3 or 4 more dB of gain. Cool. There's a couple other things I did in the effects section that aren't super crucial, but I added some hyper, not the hyper, but the dimension. And I actually turned the size all the way down, and I'm just modulating in and out the dimension at a very small size, just a bit for some cool stereo effect. Sweet. And then we also have some distortion after the compressor. So we're just going to modulate in and out the drive a bit. And I believe I had this on soft clip. Cool, so we're getting closer. I believe before the compressor we had a Comb Plus filter, and we're going to also modulate in and out the resonance and give this a bit of movement on the cutoff as well. And this you can also play with a bit, but you're going to need to almost tune this by ear. So if you want to get the exact number that's in the patch, I mean, you can download and check it out, or you can, I'm not sure if I showed the effects section, but it's also another spot where you can get really cool different timbres just by small tweaks on the cutoff. So get in here and mess around with this stuff. Let's see how this is sounding. A little bit too much on the resonance, I believe. And let's drive this a bit as well. Cool. I think we're only like minor tweaks at this point away from the actual patch. Maybe a bit more FM. Every little section, like mainly the position of the bend and the wavetable and even the cutoff of this is going to give it a different vowel. So all this stuff is like roughly in the same spot, but like minor tweaks away from the exact patch. So hopefully you guys go in and apply these kind of modulations and get something cool for yourself. So let's get into how I applied vibrato to the sound. So I'm actually going to turn the BPM off on this. So this LFO2 here is going to be free roaming at about 6200 hertz. And what we're going to do is apply this LFO in the matrix to the global tuning. And this is the only spot you can actually assign this because there's not really like a global tab for an LFO. So we're going to assign this to the master tuning and give this a, I think we did just an amount of 2. So now we have this output knob here, which is going to adjust kind of the dry wet of how much this is going to affect the master tuning. So as you can hear right now, it's going to be not giving it any vibrato because the output's all the way down. But actually, if you click this, you can see mod 9 out appears in Ableton, and you're able to automate this up. And it's kind of like a dry wet introduction for vibrato. So check this out. Cool, so I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope the patch helps you on your future endeavors for sound design. Make sure you go in, change the wavetables out, mess with it as much as you can, try and get your own cool variation of it. Really looking forward to seeing what you guys want to see from me in the future, tutorial-wise. So keep grinding on your tunes, and I will see you guys in the future. Cheers.